Hey, Craig here for another episode of Make America Healthy Again with my friend Jan Jeremias. Hey, Jan.
Hey, Craig, how are you?
Great. Jan
Good.
is of Paws Path, and Jan's an animal health and wellness counselor. I guess your specialty really is aromatherapy, working with pets. That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
what I would
fascinating to me. And I tell people, I said, "Oh yeah, I have this friend. She does pet aromatherapy, and that's a conversation stopper in itself."
say. I agree.
Yeah.
People are usually like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess you'll tell us what it means. But we're going to talk today about pets and summer heat, natural solutions to pets and summer heat. So it's no secret that this summer has been pretty hot in a lot of parts of the country. I mean, record heat we're reading about. And pets, I didn't realize this, but I heard on the radio the other day that pets don't sweat like humans sweat. So, we can tolerate a lot more heat because of our built-in cooling mechanism than pets do, right? So, can you talk a little bit how pets cool themselves off? Um,
Pets mainly cool themselves off by, paw pads actually, give off or release sort of like, our pores, give off heat. And then panting, does lower and body temperature and help them to sort of give off like body heat that if they get warm. But that's really not a very efficient mechanism if you think about a very large animal just really mainly having two ways to cool themselves down.
mhm. So what then to do? I mean, we know we've all been told don't leave pets in a hot car.
Yeah.
That's an old one, and anybody still doing that probably doesn't deserve to have a pet. But what are some other things that you can do? I mean, nutritionally, or things that you could supplement, or with essential oils, or modifications that you can make that can help them to stay cooler.
Yeah, I think you have to, first of all, I think you have to really keep into consideration that most animals have fur. So if you think you are warm, think about how warm they must be.
Mm.
My dog has a black coat. It's pretty thick. He goes out in the sun sometimes and he just lays there. And sometimes he'll just lay out and I'll be like, bud, you got to come in. It's just too hot to sit there and bask in the sun. It's just like the black is absorbing. He's furry and that's sort of like insulating, in the heat. My best advice is one is remember that. So that's a really big thing I think that you have to remember that they have a fur coat. So basically, they're going outdoors in like a 90-degree day with a fur coat on. So,
Right,
if we did.
but we often see dogs lying there in what seems to be unusually uncomfortable heat, and they seem to like it. Why do they like it so much?
I think it feels good probably to some extent. And I think, if especially if they're not being very active, I think there probably feels really good on their body, just like we like to lay in the sun. I think they, like that warmth and that heat. So I think they do it. They also like being outside in general. So I think that's another reason why they do it. I think it makes your joints feel good. Like all of the things that I think about when I think of laying in the sun, I think they sort of get the same feeling. I would say my biggest suggestion is one, remember that they have a fur coat on. Two, make sure that, if you are outside with them, try to keep them in the shade because they will stay in the shade if you're sitting in the shade, if you're going to be outside.
Mhm.
Remember, like yourself, to keep them hydrated, like let them drink a lot of water. Uh, and, and then there are a few other suggestions that I have is, recently I actually started feeding my dog melons. Like
Hmm.
he loves watermelon and cantaloupe. And so I've been feeding him a lot of like foods that are very high in water content
Mhm.
to help him stay hydrated. So that's been really helpful, I think. The other thing is also there are other forms besides for water. I always, in general, give him chicken broth in food. So that's another way, just to make sure he's getting enough fluids, especially in the summer. I think that's really beneficial.
Right. No,
Um,
you can't give cats melons, though.
no, I don't. I've never given my cat melon, but I do mix in water with their food sometimes, or something like chicken broth to help. Most people I know have indoor cats. So I don't really know if it's as much of an issue for cats.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sure it is if you have an outdoor cat. I know that when I did have an outdoor cat, my cat during the summer would find like a bush to lie under, would go and like, find all these, all these shrubs. And she would like lie underneath all these shrubs because the dirt was cool. The other thing is I know that if you do bring them inside, they tend to like things like tiled floors and any place there that the surface like that they're laying on tends to be cool. So those are my really, and then there's some other suggestions I can make if your pet does become overheated.
Uh-huh. I mean, some ideas with using essential oils. With are any of them cooling in nature?
Yeah, I mean, if your pet does become overheated, and I'm not talking about extreme heat stroke, because really heat stroke is an extremely serious medical condition, like, and really you need to see a vet. And I would suggest that if your pet is things like stumbling, is falling over, really panting excessively, really feels warm to the touch, really just take them to the vet. I wouldn't even recommend that you really do much until you take them to the vet, because by the time you sort of get them to cool down, they really do need to see a vet. But if they just seem warm, like, they've been outside and you think to yourself, oh, they seem a little bit warm. Like I said, cool tile floors or cool towels that are wet, they can lie on them or you can wrap them in them. I also suggest, diluted peppermint oil, which is very cooling, rubbed on the inside part of the thighs, underneath the arms, like the armpits area, on the ear flaps, so not inside the ears, because we never put oils in the ears, but like the ear flaps or the ear tips, because peppermint is very cooling. So that's a really nice sort of somewhat gentle way. If they do have like heat stroke or minor heat, overheating, giving them a little bit of water is okay, but not too much at once. And then the other thing is, if they do seem like that, not excessive, like if you're putting cool towels on them or have a fan going, that's great, but nothing extremely cold, because what happens if you expose them to things that are extremely cold, their blood vessels actually contract, they constrict, and that actually prevents them cooling down.
So that, the idea is not to give them ice cubes and such?
Yes, you don't want to give them ice cubes.
That's so funny, because that would be the first thing I would think of.
I know.
Put out a bowl of ice cubes.
Put out a bowl of ice cubes. Yeah, I know. I mean, every now and then, people will put out, if they're outside, they'll do ice cubes and water because they melt so quickly and the water actually gets to be room temperature kind of thing. Yeah. I'm also not the hugest advocate of ice cubes because I don't really think it's great for their teeth. Just like us, like chewing on ice cubes all the time. But, I've thought about that myself.
I have a friend I'm going to have to send this video to who has a habit of giving their dog ice cubes as a treat.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So anything else you could leave us with as far as tips for heat?
For heat. Let me think. I really do like, I think fans are probably my favorite thing, just because they're not, just blowing cool air over them, not cold air. If you do get them, in a situation where they have become overheated, I'm not saying you shouldn't do any of the above. Like if you have somebody else who's driving you to the vet, then absolutely, put on some essential oils, some, peppermint. And then there's some other oils you can use if your pet does like go to the vet and they have suffered heat exhaustion. There's some good supportive oils for them. I like lavender, frankincense, and an oil called helichrysum, which are really good to support sort of overall healing and rejuvenation after something maybe so extreme.
Mm-hmm. Great. So if people want to consult with you about their pets, you obviously work with things beyond just overheating pets. But with Paws Path, the metaphor is that the journey of the pet is often the shared journey of the owner, which I think is such a wonderful way of looking at pets. We all know that pets look like their owners, but they seem to act like their owners too. And so in that context, people can work with you, not just in the great state of New Jersey where you're located, but virtually as well.
Yes.
Great,
Yeah,
great.
they
So,
can contact me through the website and through my contact form, and then I'm glad to connect with people via whatever means they feel comfortable. So sometimes it's online and sometimes it's on the phone. And from now till the end of the year, just anybody who has a consultation, I'm donating a percentage of the proceeds from each consultation to my friends Jeffrey and Michael, who run an in-home animal hospice called Angels with Misplaced Wings. So from now till the end of the year, a percentage will go to them. They do amazing work. You can look them up online or on Facebook. And you did a video interview with Jeff a while back. So yeah, I look forward to meeting and working with animals and their owners. I think it's a great thing, and that connection, that bond is probably not like any other.
true. Well, thanks so much. We'll talk again in a few weeks.
Okay, thanks so much, Craig. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.